Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and today I have Jeff Leggat joining me from Disability Action of Canada. Tune in to your favorite app wherever you find it best suited for you. There's lots of choices to choose from, so check it out. We're also broadcasting from Trinidad on their network. I just want to let everyone know that I'm really happy that Trinidad has picked up our show on their network. So
Yeah.
you're in Trinidad, definitely, or surrounding areas, check it out. It's on Wednesdays, and usually broadcast at 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so, Jeff, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Brent? How you doing?
Wonderful. Well, wonderful. It's always great to have you joining us. And just so our listeners and our viewers are aware that we have a provincial election in British Columbia on Saturday, October 19th. There's three parties that are, they're kind of going neck and neck with each other, trying to basically form government, and there's lots of choices. However, I want people to basically just vote for who you think is going to best suit your needs in your community. We also have a whole big giant handful of independent candidates running this time around,
Yeah.
which is going to be really great.
More so than ever before.
Oh
There's a
yeah,
whole bunch of independent candidates.
uh,
Dan Davies being one of them. I have to shout out Dan Davies because he's wonderful. Like I hope he like wins
mhm.
by a landslide. I really do. It's like he's one of the good guys. So I really hope he does well in this
Yeah,
election. Yeah.
we have David Eby from the BC NDP. We have Sonia Furstenau from the BC Green Party, and we have John Rustad from the BC Conservative Party, which hasn't been in power since I think the early 1920s. Yeah, that government. So definitely be very creative on your thinking on who you want to vote for that are going to be best suited for your community. Like I said, on Vancouver Island, Sonia Furstenau is actually in the riding of Beacon Hill in Victoria here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We need to get Sonia Furstenau into the legislature. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to you, Jeff. And what's your take on what are you seeing? What's happening out there?
Thanks, Brent. Well, first of all, I'm going to go back step a bit. Dan Davies, fully endorsed Dan Davies for candidacy this election cycle up in Peace River. Dan is a wonderful, wonderful politician. We've sat down with him many occasions over the last 4 years,
Mhm.
and he works well with us. Listens to our concerns. If you're a person with disability, if you're a low income family, if you're low income senior, if you are one of the vulnerable in society, he will advocate for you. So Dan Davies, we endorse you up there. Adam Walker over here on Vancouver Island, up in what's the region again for Parksville. Adam
Parksville,
Oh,
Walker,
okay.
fully support and endorse Adam. He's a great guy.
Mhm.
Also worked with him over the last 4 years.
Who was that other MLA in Parksville?
I don't know.
No, I do.
I,
I
Oh,
do.
yeah,
Can you say it, Brett?
who was it, Brent?
Michelle Stillwell.
Michelle Stillwell, the
Oh, is there a
infamous
funny?
Michelle Stillwell.
Oh yes.
There's a funny story behind that one, I'm assuming.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah. Well,
yes.
she was awful. I don't know.
Oh,
Do,
nice.
do you not do you not remember how bad she was?
No,
No,
She was the Paralympian,
oh,
and she became this anti-advocate basically for. I mean, it was just terrible.
she
Like she was
didn't like people with
no,
disabilities.
she was the one that took away
The
that
bus
took away
pass,
the yearly bus pass. She
was she
was the
$45
one. She
pass.
was the
Yeah.
one behind all that. It's
she
just
didn't
so
love
so.
herself, poor girl. She
I
didn't love
know,
herself.
just terrible. So
Let's go back to
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry there,
the
Jeff.
BC. It's all good. The BC Greens. Okay, what we decided to do this year, Brent, Sonia, Neil, myself, Peter down in Victoria, and Tom down in Victoria, is fully endorse the BC Green platform and the 68 BC Green candidates running throughout the province of BC. Why? because this is the party that will effectively call for the end of government-imposed poverty of all persons with disabilities in BC who rely on disability income support to survive month to month. So I put out a post yesterday about there's over 1.1 million people in BC out of a total population of 5.6 million that identify as having a disability of some sort. Not all 1.1 million are needing disability income support, of course, because there's some that have money. There's 48% are employed, and that kind of stuff. But there still is 52% of those that aren't employed, can't work for whatever, a variety of reasons, can't find a job for a variety of reasons, including discrimination and all that other kind of stuff, that do rely on the collective societal support of monthly disability income support. And when you have 586,000 people approximately that need that rely on societal support living under the poverty level, then you're just dismissing them as belonging in society. They no longer are able to participate in society. They're considered to be throwaway, garbage, whatever you want to do, and they're left into in a cycle of survival mode instead of in a cycle of living and thriving in our communities. So we've been working, Brent, Sonia, Neil, all of us have been working with the provincial government over the last many years to bring this to attention, to fight for an end to government-imposed poverty. And we've been getting some other stuff done, getting some of the barriers in the disability structure of a BC taken down, and they've been doing some other stuff in the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, but they haven't been giving the financial resources. They've been reluctant, and I'm talking the BC NDP have been reluctant to end government-imposed poverty completely by providing monthly disability rates equal to the official poverty level of Canada. BC Green platforms, they will provide up to $2,400 a month to a person with disabilities needing your societal financial support. What this does is provide them with the ability to actually participate in society and be part of our community and give back in whatever way that they can. So we are calling on I was calling on our PWD that were on disability. I'm going to call on all British Columbians. Okay. If you know someone who's disabled, if you work with people who are disabled, if you're a carer, all that kind of stuff, let's all vote for a promising future, for a future for all, for the future for the masses, including 587,000 people with disabilities to be able to be successful in our province. We're calling for the green vote right across the board. Let's get in as many green candidates as we can and forget about this. Who's the lesser of two evils from NDP and Conservative? I don't care about that. Let's vote in a positive way instead of in a negative way. Let's go green BC.
Yeah. And you make a great point, Jeff. Is that it's not just the people that are disabled. Like we've titled today's episode "Crip The Vote." Like there's 20% of the population here in BC is disabled. So if we all united and we all kind of voted the same way, whether it's independent or green, we could really crip the vote. And it's not just people that are disabled. It's also their families, their caregivers, you know, the doctors. Like it's all of those people that support people with disabilities as well, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so much rhetoric going on. It's like saying, well, if you vote for this party, it's going to split the vote. Maybe I'll get your take on that, Jeff. When you hear that narrative of, well, it's going to split the vote. If you vote for Green, you're going to give the Conservatives more power, and they're going to get in.
Well, especially David Eby. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about David Eby.
I first heard that in my own riding here because I'm close with a bunch of different politicians and political parties. And I heard that a couple months ago or a month ago when it was first called, or even before it was called. And I thought that was that's a distasteful narrative. I don't like that. I don't tell me, you know what I mean, that one party is irrelevant and you got to just focus on these two parties. I don't believe that. That's such a sad way of trolling for votes. David Eby went out this week, I believe it was Monday, and made an announcement that overtly trolling the green leaning voter base to say, look, we need your votes to the NDP. Otherwise, you're gonna cause us to have a conservative party.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, that is the dirtiest of politics and the most
Yeah.
disgusting thing I've ever heard from a politician. You're missing the mark once again, Premier Eby.
Yeah.
Don't put the blame on someone else
Yeah.
for your failings, for your
Oh,
misleading.
exactly. 100%.
Yeah, because
and-
there's so many individuals that are around in the community here, and I've actually spoken to a couple, and they said they've always voted green, and they feel that they're really stuck because it's like the pressure is getting on them. Well, vote for us because otherwise you're gonna split the vote, and they said they don't want to change who they're voting for. They want to vote for that person that's going to best suit their needs in their community. And my view is, if you person wants to vote for who they want to vote for, let them vote for that person. Don't try to persuade them. No, vote for us, because it's going to change it better. It keeps them two in power or whatever.
Because we're not as bad as the other guys.
Yeah.
That's
But
your leading argument, then you deserve to not win. If that's your leading argument, forget it.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It totally reminds me of a gaslighting tactic. It's like it's gonna be your fault, BC Greens. It's gonna be your fault if we lose. And I'm like, no, it's not. The fact of the matter is, if the Conservatives win, it'll only prove that how incompetent the BC NDP is. That's what it'll prove.
Absolutely.
There was one part that I was looking at in their platforms. Now, of course, as we know, BC NDP and BC has come up with their platform. The BC Greens have their platform. Now, the BC Conservatives is apparently going to be coming out with their platform at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. But there's nothing in their platform for persons with disabilities. Little birdie had told me that there's nothing. They don't care about persons with disabilities in BC. So right there, I mean, if you're thinking about voting Conservatives, and you're an ally to persons with disabilities, well, I hate to tell you this, but there's nothing in their platform. They don't want to support. They're not going to increase, or they're not going to decrease. They're just going to keep it status quo. Yeah. So right there, BC Greens, yes, they want to commit to $2,400. No less than $2,400. I mean, it could be even more. Now the NDP, there's something in there, but you got to wait until next July of 2025. But that's based on the Canada Disability Benefit. As we know, that's woefully, completely messed up. That whole benefit is based on household, and majority of people are not going to get it because there's too many hoops to jump through. So way I look at it, Jeff, is BC NDP could do something now, before the election, and say, hey, we're going to add something on to our platform to recognize that we're going to take responsibility within our province to take care of our residents as persons with disabilities, but they're going to rely on the federal government to do it.
We all know the Canada Disability Benefit is a jump the shark benefit.
Oh yeah,
it's a mess. It's garbage, and it's one of the most gaslighting, as we say, Neil. It's gaslighting garbage, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to wait on them. Let's go back to one thing. The Conservatives won't change or won't do anything, I don't think, with the rate for disability income support, because the Conservatives and the whole base, that whole mentality is based on that you're getting free money, and we're supporting freeloaders from our hard-earned taxes and stuff, and they shouldn't be getting free money. They should be working. Where they don't quite are able to differentiate between why or understand why people with disabilities don't work, can't work, are never offered work, are never hired. There's so many different variables in there.
Yeah.
And you're not giving someone free money, you're supporting your community as a society. And this is what the old BC or the old conservatives back in the 70s and the 80s used to be more supportive of the little guy and the vulnerable as we support our whole society. The new conservatives view, both federally and provincially, it's all about me and what how much money I get, and I don't care about the other person. My livelihood is being threatened or being taken away, so it's about me. All the money I can tell you right now, 100% of the money that is provided in disability income to disabled people in BC is like a stimulus. It stays in the province.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed to leave the province really. Some of it,
goes to the grocery store, the landlords, the hair person, the transportation. None of it goes offshore. None of it goes into the billionaire's pocket. None of it goes to help anybody out other than your community members.
Yeah.
How is that a thing that we have to fight for?
Yeah.
Then people equate disability income support with welfare. And David Eby also said something so stupid yesterday. If you want to spend your whole welfare check on crack, then it's your right, and you can do that. You can go ahead and do that. Mr. Eby, that is so based in judgment and discrimination.
That's stigma. Like, why would he say that? Stigma?
That's an awful, awful thing to say. You're supporting the view that welfare or disabled people or people that need help from the society to live are a bunch of crackheads. So I fully reject that statement, and I think I would call for an apology for that, because that's ridiculous.
It is.
And number two, if you provide people with a proper amount of monthly supports to live, then they're not going to be stuck in this oppressive, depressive, why am I living state, and I have to get away from it by getting high on whatever. If you provide no supports but a couple of dollars and tell them to beat it, I mean, what's
David Eby, I didn't even know he said that. But I mean, remember Brent, when we had that podcast about the rant and rave,
right?
Where we were talking about Mike Harcourt, and I kind of made the comment of like, why would David Eby go out of his way to get an endorsement from Mike Harcourt, who was hands down the biggest bigot in all of BC politics history? And I think that comment just shines a light of how closely tied David Eby is to that dinosaur thinking, of like that bigoted thinking, like that shows right there. So,
I had a relative that actually had made a really good comment to me, and I wanted to share the comment to you, Jeff and Neil here. There's that stereotype, she calls it, and she was a practitioner many years ago, and she said to me that there's probably a reason also why the government doesn't want to raise disability rates. And I mean, you nailed it right there, Jeff, on what David Eby said about people on welfare. I mean, she said there's probably people on income assistance right now. She said, of course, AKA used to be called welfare way back when, and they changed it to income assistance to make it more dignified. But she says that there's people on the fence waiting to be, their applications waiting to be processed to be on disability designation. Now, she says that her view is they probably figured, they're just going to go out and buy drugs. They're just going to waste it on things that are not going to be beneficial to themselves. And again, she said that's really harmful for the government to even look at that way. And I said, I think you might be onto something there too. An excuse why they don't want to raise the rates. Well, that it really hurts the disability community in a whole, because then it's like a classification again, and it's stigmatization.
It is. And the fact that we have to, the fact that the government reflects that and kind of puts that statement out is so disgusting to me, because we can't continue to blame the most vulnerable and the most needy in our society for the wealth disparity.
Yeah.
We need to blame those that are in charge of the wealth disparity, the corporations, the politicians, the billionaires, the multi-billionaires, the millionaires, the ones that hoard all the wealth for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And instead of putting it back into a society where we all benefit from the collective resources of our country, of our province, of our world. So when you're being taught over and over again that it's the person that's out of work that has nothing that's going to steal from you.
Yeah.
Instead, it's the person that you're working for that's stealing the most from you, and corporations and everything else. They're the ones that are stealing all the wealth from you, and they're making you look at the little guy and blame him.
And I just wanted to make a very small point too, Jeff. I mean, everybody here knows that I'm the clawback guy, but I just wanted to make this small point. I mean, that the government basically only basically respects people that work, and they respect people with disabilities that work. I mean, that's the running commentary, right? But I'll make the point that actually the government does not respect people with disabilities that work, because I did work and they disrespect it by clawing back pensions. Like I earned that pension. My previous wife earned her pension, and they don't respect worker benefits like WCB or the income assistance, or not employment insurance and stuff like that, or any kind of pension like my service pension. They don't respect the benefits of working. They say we'll respect you if you work, but they actually don't respect the work. So
Exactly. No, I agree completely. I'm going to kind of go back on topic here. Let me just go back to this. There's about 4.6 million people in BC that are eligible to vote out of the 5.6 million population. 1 million people are under the age of 18, 19. So 4.6 million, and in reflection from previous voting cycles, about 50 to 60% come out and vote. 53% was in 2020's voter turnout. There's about 1.12 million persons with disabilities in this province. There is tons of low-income seniors. There's tons of people that want to protect our environment and get away from this exploitation of resources mentality in government and greed, and the NDP and the Conservative being corporate-driven governments. If we all voted for Green across the board, I would love it. We would love it.
It would be so great. It would be so great.
This province would be the most beautiful province as far as we are community-driven governance. We're not corporate identified driven governance. We're community-driven governance. Sonia Furstenau is a brilliant politician. She doesn't have smoke and mirrors. She calls it what it is. And she does the homework to back it up. There's no fakeness about it. She's not a Trudeau. So so and her platform, if you have a chance to read her platform, BC Green Party, go and read the platform, pages 15 to 19, talking about the drug policy, poverty, that kind of stuff. And it makes so much sense. We've got to support the people that are actually going to have the most benefit for the most part of society.
And I just want to say, like I've said so many times, but I just want to say it again, like she is by far, Sonia Furstenau is by far the best leader of the other two. Like by far, it's not even close, even close. Like she is by far the best leader. Like that's why I would love to see her as premier. Like I mean, like if we all Crip the Vote, if we all Crip the Vote, and all of the carrieds and all of the family members and all of like you said, all of the elderly, and we all came together, like the friends of people that are disabled, if we all came together and actually Crip the Vote, that you actually would have somebody. And we can say again, like all the voting for independent, like it's not a throwaway vote. Like if you vote for who you want, it means that you're not voting for NDP, or you're not voting for not voting for Conservative. So a vote for Green means you're not voting the other guy, right?
Yeah, and to me, to vote for someone that I'm passionate about and I believe
Yeah.
in, and I see
Yeah.
the vision and I agree with and I support, I sleep at night.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens. I'm
Mhm.
not going to be regretting my vote at all.
Yeah.
Because that's my vision, that's my energy, that's my support.
Yeah.
So don't fall into the bullying, the
Oh, exactly.
gaslighting, the dirty politics. Call it out for what it is.
Mhm.
Vote for the independents that have worked hard for you. Vote for the Green Party that is solidly being led by Sonia, Adam, all the people that are leading the Green Party. We were there yesterday, Brent, at the headquarters, and it was lovely to see the headquarters a buzz with all their going ons on a Monday holiday, Thanksgiving Day. It was great to see. So we have the ability to move mountains. We have the ability to make positive changes from community-driven governance. And that's my biggest thing. We don't have proportional representation in this country. And that's because the big parties in charge that are being corporate driven and being led by the billionaires and interests and all that kind of stuff, they won't allow it to happen, even though Justin Trudeau said he'd bring it in 2015.
Yeah.
We don't have proportional representation. So our best next thing is community-driven governance.
Jeff, did you know that disability income support in BC used to be a pension back in the early 1900s?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah. And
1991, it was taken away.
yeah, Mike Harcourt
again
took it away and made it heavily means tested, right? Imagine seniors, having their pensions taken away.
Yeah.
And they're disabled.
Yes. No.
Like, yeah. So
we should get David Eby saying people on welfare are cheats. Cheats, deadbeats, and what was it?
Varmints.
Oh yeah, cheats, varmints, and deadbeats. I mean that might as well come out of his mouth, out of David Eby's.
Was that
that was Mike Harcourt's thing?
Yeah.
It was 93, 94. He had a press conference and said that. Yeah,
I remember that watching that right on the news hour. It was right at dinner time too.
Imagine having so much hate and darkness in your soul and your life to be able
to say that. It's just
another person in that manner. Come on,
just incredulous that somebody would do that. Yeah,
I remember that exactly that day. My mom was watching the news hour and she says, "I'll turn this filth off." She said, "That is filth coming out of a premier's mouth." She turned the channel and go, the weather was coming on next, and right after that I go, no, I want to watch it. She goes, "No, I'm turning it off now." She says, "I've heard enough of this garbage."
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting with the upcoming election for sure. Definitely I do see a Green in the future here. I do see a more powerful Green presence, and we need to get people out there to vote. I mean, if you have caregivers, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, nurses, doctors, teachers, unions. I love to get all the unions together. All the unions, form as an alliance. Let's change this province into something better. You don't have to pick the same old status quo. Like, you can make a change.
Exactly. And if you understand this too, if you vote for a Green candidate anywhere in BC, no matter who it is, and they don't get in, your vote's not wasted. Your vote is counted. Your vote, it gets money for the party to be able that does get in to make a difference, and it's shown as total turnout. It's shown as a representation of the percentage of the population that wants this party. The more the Greens are represented in the total voting turnout, the better it is. 15% was represented in the 2020 election, which only gave them 2 seats, which wasn't 15% of the seats, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But don't think your vote is wasted at all. Your vote is shown to direct the future of our province.
Yeah.
Here's something new, though. I'm sorry, Neil. Here's something new. I'm just going to quickly mention this year for BC elections. They have a new procedure in place. So If
Yeah,
you
it's
are
cool.
in a different riding and you're visiting somewhere else and you don't have your voter card with you, you can actually now vote in another city. And all you have to do is show your ID, and they punch up your ID, your ID number, and it'll come up on their system. They'll know your address, and they'll print out a voter card for you for the representatives, the candidates in your riding area, and you can actually vote in that city. And then you take it over to the little booth. They'll give you a big felt pen, write put an X or circle, whatever you want to do in that little square, and then take it over to the other person who's now going to feed it into their computer, and it
Yeah.
fits it right in there, and they know exactly who you voted for.
It counts it immediately. It
Yeah,
counts it
right away.
immediately, which is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's done. I
Yeah.
actually had
Yeah.
that experience
Yeah.
the last week, and it was great. I was in Langley,
Yeah.
and Sonia had a medical appointment, so we had gone over, and we we decided to go and venture out to Langley, and we went and saw you, Neil, on our way. It was awesome. Thanks for meeting up with us too. That was
Yeah.
a pleasure. It was always nice.
And after you, the day after, is when I actually did my early. I voted already,
Oh, nice.
and I voted independent, like I said I would, because
Yeah.
I didn't have a green in my writing. If I had a green, I would have voted green,
Yes.
but instead I voted for an independent.
Yeah.
And so we're coming up to the closing comments, and I just wanted to lead with my closing comment, and that is that this election, probably more than any other in very recent history, is really wide open. Like there actually is so many more independents running this year. There's a lot more BC Green representation in different. There's way more ridings with BC Green. So it really is wide open. So can you imagine to steal from David Eby, he says, can you imagine waking up to a conservative Rustad as your premier? Well, I mean, again, that's 100% David Eby's fault, number one. But the thing I wanted to leave with is that, can you imagine if we had, like, say 8 independents voted in, and say 8 BC Greens voted in, or I mean, I hope it's way more, but I'm just saying, I'm just
Yes.
throwing those out as possible numbers. If you had 8 BC Greens and eight independents, imagine that there's 16 seats that
Wow.
are going to be fighting against either either a BC NDP or BC Conservative, and to me that's great. I mean, that would be wonderful. I mean, I hope it's way more independents. I hope it's way more Greens, but I'm just throwing out kind of realistic numbers there.
That's the most beautiful government,
Yeah.
because it's party driven. It's
Yeah.
driven by the people that represent their constituents. That's the most beautiful. That's the most beautiful result we could imagine. As Sonia said the other day, that's her vision of a proper BC legislature come this Saturday, is a number of independents, a number of Greens, and whatever happens on the other two party happens. But there you don't have people just deciding or voting because the way the party wants, and ignoring the constituents, which happens all the time in this province and in this country. So please, my closing statement, don't vote out of fear or being bullied or believe the gaslighting, or vote because you want the lesser of two evils in your mind. Sleep good at night. Vote for what you want, whether it's an independent, whether it's NDP, whether it's Green, whether it's Conservatives, because that's your ideology. Don't vote strategically. Vote the way you want to see the province going, and we will deal with the outcome as it comes.
Yeah, vote with your heart. Vote with your heart. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
One more thing, we are going to work with whoever is in power, and whatever politicians come take those seats in the fall. As always, as we do on the provincial and the federal level, we'll work with everybody. We've talked to pretty much everybody in all the parties, so we know the players, but we're trying to give us the best foothold for an end to government-imposed poverty of PWD in BC. That's our focus and our goal. We'll deal with whatever happens, but please, if you can, help us win this election. with the best foothold.
Thank you on that, Jeff. And my closing comments pretty well echo both of your both of Neil and Jeff your comments too. As an overview, as a person with disabilities and as a resident and as a citizen of Canada, I want to see in our coming election the party that the Green Party. We definitely need to get more seats in the BC for the Green Party in our legislature to represent our constituents and our citizens, our residents, their best interests. So, like as a person with disabilities, I want to see our rates get up to no less, obviously, than $2,400 minimum, and that's what the Green Party, Sonia Furstenau, has committed to doing. The NDP, unfortunately, they're waiting on the Canada Disability Benefit, as we know. People need help now. David Eby has said numerous times in different press conferences, in video footage that he's put out there, that people need help now. They need help now. Well, David, people needed help while you were in government. You chose not to help the people that are most need, meaning people with disabilities, income assistance, seniors, low-income people are struggling, families, having to wait for a Canada Disability Benefit. I mean, come on. Put something in your platform that's going to represent people's needs now. I always remember back of quickly before we end the podcast of a segment on a radio show that I called into, Jeff, and David said, "We're doing the best on that, Brent." Get a job, the jobs plan. I mean? Well, you know what? Flashback is a press release here. I had a job. I had numerous jobs over many years. I can't do the kind of work that I used to be able to do. As we get older, we get more disabilities. So again, it's just a rhetoric. It's like throwing it out there. We need something different. We need a new, fresh ideas going forward with whoever's going to represent. And like you mentioned, Jeff, whoever forms government, we'll work with them, definitely, because it's so important to have people's representation met by a constituent that's going to actually look at their needs and say, yes, I recognize this. Let's work with it. Let's help each other as residents, where we can put money back into the economy and help small businesses grow, not corporations. I mean, I don't care about corporations. I mean, they're going to thrive regardless, right? But small businesses like the small coffee shops, small cafes. I mean, why not, support those businesses where if the government isn't going to give people the support, how are you going to help those, businesses thrive? So again, go with your heart on who you want to vote for in the next upcoming election on October 19th. Sonia Furstenau, we're rooting for you. I can say right now, yes, I voted, and I voted for Sonia Furstenau. I voted.
And all the independents, we'll say, all the independents as well. Absolutely. Dan Davies and everybody else, independent.
One more thing, shout out to Mark Ruffalo for publicly supporting Sonia Furstenau and the BC Green Party. Shout out to David Suzuki for today endorsing the BC Green Party. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of PWD Allies podcast. Please check it out on your favorite app, and definitely subscribe, like, and share all your content. If you want to donate to our channel, reach out to Neil's email address or myself, and or if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to us also, and we'll get you all set up. Talk about lived experience stories and anything that's on your mind. We have some new segments coming up, so stay tuned. They're going to be here and there, but we're going to do some pilot projects on these. But thank you very much. Stay tuned. Take care.
Crip the vote! Crip the vote!
Yeah.